Hey guys, it's Nye, and welcome to my world. On this episode of Healing Out Loud, we will dive deep into the effects of dealing with narcissistic abuse, the things that might keep you stuck, and why you feel like maybe your life isn't moving forward as you would. We will go deep into the evidences and what causes these outcomes and give you steps and how to overcome it. If this is something that you have dealt with or you know someone may benefit from this information, please share it. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe so that you are informed on the different episodes and the different steps and techniques that I will be rolling out in ways of how to heal from narcissistic abuse and regain control of your life. For these series, the purpose is for us to reclaim our voice, reclaim our time, reclaim our power, our passions, and our purpose. Many of us, after dealing with narcissistic abuse, or even during, may wonder to ourselves, how come we can't click like how we used to click? How come we're not able to function in society how everyone else did? Or how come we just don't feel like ourselves? The main thing that we first have to address is the effects of narcissistic abuse and how it may affect each individual. If we go into this without understanding the full complexities of how we have been altered, we will continue the cycle of abuse on ourselves. The main thing that we need to realize when it comes to narcissistic abuse is that it is a systematic breakdown of your development. It doesn't matter at what age you have experienced the abuse. Just know that from the onset of the abuse, your development has been stunted. You were not able to develop with your timeline how you were supposed to. So in essence, you're basically stuck at the point that the abuse began. So what we first need to realize is to go back to where the abuse began, not to relive it, not to reharm ourselves, but to understand what brought us to that point so that we can address the cause of it rather than just the symptoms. First and foremost, those who end up in narcissistic abuse are seeking something. There is a reason why the abuse was able to be on in the first place. If we were whole, if we were secured, if we were in positive environments, the likelihood of us being abused would have minimized. So first and foremost, let me say this. It is not your fault that you ended up in a narcissistic abusive situation, but it is your responsibility to pull yourself out of it in whatever way you see fit. Now, I am not here to give legal advice. I am not here to tell you what to do. You have to use discernment in what is the safest option for you. I am coming from a standpoint of after exiting the abuse. If you are still in the situation, you may need to take some of my tactics and tweak it to your situation. But for the most part, I want to address just how we have been affected by narcissistic abuse. Narcissistic abuse, first and foremost, they will put self-doubt into you. From the onset of you meeting this person and this person entering your life in whatever capacity, they have to break you down to where you view them as someone superior, to where you can learn to depend on them and to value their words and opinions. They will diminish who you are first. They are going to inflict self-doubt into you. It'll come silently with, it could be something as simple as a slight comment about what you have on, about your hair, about your opinion. But the common tactics that they use is gaslighting. If you have been anywhere else apart from under a rock, you have heard this term plenty of times. Gaslighting is when someone will alter your perception of reality. They do so by inflicting little lies or little deceptions or straight up just telling you that you don't know what you're talking about. They will make you question your reality with different techniques depending on who you are as a person. They will make you question whether you are aware of what is going on, whether you are remembering things correctly, or whether you are just sane, right? So if you go through a time period of being gaslit into where you are questioning yourself and there is so much self-doubt, after you leave that situation, it doesn't automatically click to where you start to believe in yourself. You have to go on a journey of regaining the confidence that you once had in yourself, or maybe never had at all. in order to move forward from that position when you were being inflicted with the abuse. Self-doubt can only be altered by being confident, essentially. If you are in a situation where you doubted your abilities and you doubted your sanity and you doubted your information and your intellect, you have to put yourself in spaces to where those will grow and those will be fostered and encouraged. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be with someone else, but it has to be within you. You have to put yourself in situations that you know will build your confidence and will help you erase self-doubt. Sorry, I got a lash. Okay. So we have to get rid of this perception of perfection because it doesn't exist. We can allow situations to take us off of our course. But what we need to do after leaving a narcissistic situation is we have to first and foremost build up our confidence and build up our self-esteem. Because what we need to do is make sure that our defenses and our armor within ourselves is so strong to make it not be able to be penetrated by our abuser or to open the doors for others to come. The second one is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is where you accept yourself, whatever that means. For me, the self-acceptance came in a part of accepting that I was imperfect because I struggled with the vision of perfection that was never attainable for me. And the more I strived for this to be this perfect person and to have this perfect image, the further away it got from me, which then just, was a cycle. So for me, my self-acceptance is to say, you know what? Yeah, this isn't how you want it to be. You may not be how you want it to be. You didn't make the best decisions. You didn't do all the things that you may have wanted to do, but it's okay. Because every one of those decisions led you to this specific place to where now you can create a new you. You can create a new life. But if I were to sit down and beat myself down about it and keep ruminating on all the mistakes I've made and all the time that I stayed longer than I should have and all the times I never stood up for myself and all the times I let this person get away with this, it would leave me right where I was. So in order for me to do self-acceptance is I have to understand why I ended up in that situation to begin with and accept that even though it was not my fault, I did make those decisions to remain there for whatever reason. It's not blame, it's not good, it's not bad. It is fact. I stayed in that situation for as long as I did. I was imperfect in my decision making, but that does not mean that I have to continue to do that and continue to be that way. I get to accept that I want different from my life, or I want a new outcome from my life. So I'm going to do new things. I'm going to do different. Accept that you may not have had the right tools, but you're going to do the best that you can with what you have in the time that you do. We cannot go back to the past and relive and fix everything because, again, we are dealing with narcissists. They do not apologize. They deflect. When they are in a community of monkeys who enable them and allow them to continue their wrath of harm, there is no purpose of going back into that situation because there is no healing there. So what we need to do is accept what is and move on from what was, create a new and just get our life in a position of where we want to. And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, that is a dark space. That is a dark space when you have to face all of that. But there are ways to get through it as long as you remain focused and you remain just grace with yourself. Be forgiving of yourself. Be understanding of yourself. Do not beat yourself down like they did, because then what was the purpose of us getting out of the situation, right? Another thing that we are not prepared for, and I kind of mentioned it in the last point, is that once you decide to leave, you are more than likely going to be left without community. Unfortunately, during the process, you are isolated. You are turned against your people. Your people are turned against you. But let's discuss the before and let's discuss the after of these relationships. The before is you probably didn't have much of a community to begin with. which is why this person was able to come into your life and make you feel like they're all that you had. The problem with that is you tend to rely heavily, if not 100% ultimately, on this person. They know that. You will continue to confide in that person, even if it's just a simple talk of being, just a little upset that you don't have community, or maybe grievances of how you've been treated or things like that. You will divulge this type of stuff because they will appear to be trustworthy. During the relationship, should you choose to call out their behavior, they'll deflect back to what you told them about your friend or your brother or your father. They're going to say things like, well, I can't be that bad because so-and-so, or when so-and-so did it, you did this. Like they are holding these things to throw back at you. So before you enter in a relationship with them, you do not have community. While you're in a relationship with them, any community that you do have, they're going to pry from your fingers. They're going to put doubt into your head to make you even think that the community that you think you have is even valid. They're going to make you feel like the only person you have is them. So when things are good, you have them. And when things are bad, you only have them. Now, once they find out, or once they get a hunch, narcissists thrive on isolation and control. Those are the two things that they work with in tandem. If they realize that they cannot isolate you, then they will realize that they're losing control. And if they realize that they're losing control, then they're going to try to isolate you, right? It's kind of like get you in a corner and kind of just eliminate your options. Once they realize that they cannot isolate or control you, they're going to start a psychological warfare. And I say that even though I may be laughing, but it's literally psychological warfare. They will go 10 times harder on you than they have ever done before, because now they're trying to elicit fear. In tandem of doing so, what they're then going to do is they're then going to start a smear campaign. And again, a smear campaign is something that a lot of us have heard, but we don't understand how deep it goes. They will begin this before you're even aware of what you're dealing with. Because again, they are in the know of who they are. They know that you're going to protect reputations. They know that you're honorable. They know that you're strong. They know that your threshold of being mistreated is high. They know that they are going to manipulate and capitalize on every little weakness in you that they can find. They know that. By the time we find out, they've already hit the ground running. They have already went around to not only their community, but to whatever community you had, and have already started inflicting doubts, inflicting lies. I'm talking about they will completely do a turnaround. When you are able to be controlled and when you are able to be isolated, the depiction of you that they tell their family and friends is going to be a complete 180 of what they will then say who you are or who you have become, because they know that eventually, or maybe you have already found out who they are. So they're going to try to get ahead of you, and they are going to go so far and so deep and so evil that 9 times out of 10, the people who they're going to already wanted to feel bad about you. So they are basically giving steak to a hungry dog, and they're going to eat it up, and they're going to chew it up, and they're going to spit you out. So when it comes to the smear campaign, in order to move past the narcissistic abuse stuckness, right? We'll call it that. You have to understand that you are not going to have community. And it is sometimes a lot harder to get things accomplished when you don't have community. When people have community, they get help with reaching their goals. They get help with the kids. They get help with bills. They get help with just having someone to talk to. Your community is going to be very limited, if any. You have to start learning how to build community within yourself, within your household. Those who are supposed to be there, once you heal and you start on your journey, they'll come. Don't worry about the people on the outside, because I can say for a fact, for me, the only community I had when I decided to leave was with my creator. That is the only person or entity, that is the only support that gave me the strength to leave. And again, I am not a uber religious person, right? But the relationship that I have built with my God over these past few years is the only community that I have been able to rely on consistently. Sometimes my steps weren't even known to me, but when I got that nudge, I had to jump on it and I had to move. And that is the only comfort that gave me enough security within myself to move. And I am a testimony, because I am telling you, everything that I was holding on to, everything that I was fearful of, once I let that go and relied solely and 100% on the fact that my God was going to protect me and have me at his bosom, that is what pulled me out. It's like they say, you can't fear man and fear God. And it was a literal revelation for me. It was like, I can't be more fearful of man than I am fearful and an understanding of who God is. And I had to make a decision, and I would never turn back from that decision, because I fear of what would have happened to me and my children if I did not make that move on so many different levels. And this is not in one narcissistic abusive relationship. I'm talking about in so many different categories that if I didn't go left instead of right, who knows where we would be. But I rely on my creator and I rely on my inner knowing. And that has been what has been helping me navigate these waters, or how it is. So the funny thing is, right, when you are prone to entering into narcissistic abusive relationships, most of the time you are a people pleaser, right? And we can get into that whole thing, because that was something that I fought against for so long. But after really going into what it was and actually seeing the way it showed up in my life, it's 100%. We are people pleasers. We are recovering people pleasers. And even to this day, it's something that we still have to be 100% aware of, so that we don't replicate these behaviors. But when I say as far as a people pleaser, is when I made the decision to make the decision, no one's opinion mattered. And that was my first step into my autonomy, into my self-acceptance, into my removal of self-doubt, because I didn't ask anyone's opinion about what it was I should do or how to do it. I did it. So just know that if you still have remnants of the people pleasing tactics inside of you, it may be difficult for you to navigate this without community. But I promise you, your people will show up when you are ready and when they are supposed to. You're not meant to walk this path alone. And for the most part, I believe if we're being really honest with ourselves, we will come to really see that even though we've had people around us this whole time, we have been very alone. It has been a very lonely walk. But this type of alone, when you leave your narcissistic environment, it's something that is going to challenge your very existence. You have to want this, because this is not for the weak and it is not easy. You have to want this. You have to want freedom from the change of narcissistic abuse. If not, you might as well stay locked up and just continue on. And again, what you have to know is safety is always going to be the top precedence, regardless of who the narcissistic is to you. If it's your boss, you need to make sure that you have income or how you're going to navigate your finances. If it is a parent and you are dependent on them, you're going to need to know how to navigate that. If it is a spouse and you are, in danger, you need to know how to navigate that. But this work starts in you first before it's even replicated or even seen on the outside. So again, I'm not given any type of advice. I can definitely go into a safety plan, a safety exit plan. But again, when it comes to what you are or where you are in life and what you're capable of doing, that's a call that you have to make. I'm just going through the steps of just the path and the way that I break down the steps of when it comes to my clients. Another thing that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's very important, is you have to understand that when you are with a narcissist, they are not there to help your career development. They are not there to help you get rich. They are not there to help you get successful. They are to keep you dependent and under them. So, for example, what most don't know is that say you're with a narcissistic person and then you have to go out of work. The gap that's on your resume after you leave this person is going to bite you, because the field, when it comes to applying for jobs, they're not going to say, okay, maybe there was a life circumstance and this person was out of work for 10, 12 years. Maybe there was a medical issue. Maybe they don't care. They're looking at your resume and they're saying, okay, the last time you worked was 1993 and it is now 2026. And the skills, the work, just the new world, they may doubt whether you have the capabilities of it. This tech world is something that you have to know how to navigate. And if they see that gap on your timeline, on your resume, they're not going to assume that you know how to do it. So when it comes to applying in the job market, you're going to have to learn to fight for yourself and advocate for yourself and sell yourself. Because a lot of the times the skills that these people are looking for, you have them. You just may not have had them in a professional setting. So you have to figure out how to financially put yourself in a stable position and how to market yourself with the skills that you have learned or already knew prior to, entering in the relationship. Because it's like I said in the beginning, they keep you stunted. They're not there to show you how to progress and how to keep up with the times. They want you stunted, because the less you know, the less you have, the more dependent on them, the more that they can control you. So when it comes to entering the field, give yourself grace. You may not get the first yes. You may not get a job right away. Finances may be tough for a while, but you will figure it out along the way. What you need will appear, I promise you. Look inside of you, be still and be quiet, and you will find a solution for all of your problems, because you have one less, right? And that one less problem could be the person or the catalyst to all of the other problems. So once you remove this one thing, your weight is already lightened. With my program, what I aim to help my clients with is how to reclaim your voice, reclaim your power, reclaim your vision, reclaim your joy, reclaim your happiness, reclaim your purpose. We are thrown off of our path when it comes to these situations because we are stunted. So when it comes to re-entering the world, we have to have the tools to do so. It's kind of like, imagine if someone had an injury, right? Like a physical injury, and they broke their legs. And it's kind of like, as soon as they break their legs, you want them to start running again. It doesn't happen. There is a process to when you break a bone. You are casted, right? You are then given a certain amount of time and certain procedures and things to do and things not to do, and maybe certain medications. But it is all the purpose of you healing and not to re-injure yourself. Because if you don't do these things, or if you move too quickly, or you don't allow the timeline to heal, you can create more injury. It is important for us to realize that with narcissists, we have been injured on a molecular level. Our brains are not functioning how they were. Our nervous system is not functioning as it should. We may have heart palpitations. We may have hearts that race all day. Our sweat glands, our sleep habits, our eating habits, our trust, our fear, our comfort, our decision making. We have been injured on molecular levels. Although physical injuries and physical abuse is more widely accepted, we have been injured. And it does not matter whether anyone can see it. It is there. And just as how we would allow the healing process of a bone or of any type of physical injury, you have to allow yourself to heal and our bodies to re-regulate. And it's going to take some time. Some of us have years of abuse, and we are going to have to function with the detox of that abuse while trying to function in society. And it's not easy, but it's possible as long as you give yourself grace, you are aware of it, and do the work. And I can help you do the work. I've done the work. I'm doing the work, and I can help you do the work. It is something that I have seen that not many people understand. And the frustration is when I'm speaking to someone, being that we have been riddled with so much guilt and shame, we tend to feel like we are burdening someone, or our story just doesn't matter, or we just don't connect. And I find that this is a category, right, of abuse that is just so overlooked, especially nowadays, because this world is it's a catchphrase, right? You hear it all the time. Nobody knows what it is. But it's like, if you've been through actual narcissistic abuse, not if you met someone that was a little mean or someone that was a little inconsiderate, if you have been through someone systematically breaking down your development and your sense of self, you know that there is no way that you walk out of that unscathed, unharmed, and able to just go running. Even if you do that for a while, it's going to catch up to you. Look at how many athletes, right? They'll come back from injury too soon, and then, they go out, then they go back out, injure themselves, and then their career is over. It is a process, and we have to honor the process. And while there are other steps, I feel like this is a good place to start. I don't want this video to be too long, and I'm going to revisit back the things that I have listed out. But just remember that you were inflicted with self-doubt. You have to learn self-acceptance. You may not have a community. You may have to reclaim different things about yourself, which means you're going to have to get to know yourself. And just realize what you've been through. Like, speak it. Speak it. You have been you've been altered. Our brain chemistries we've been altered. So let's give ourselves grace and give our bodies time to just process that before we beat ourselves down on not being as productive as we should be, or not feeling like ourselves right away. It's like when you have a baby, like we don't feel ourselves right. It takes time. So give yourself time. I'm going to end here because I feel like I'm rambling now. But if you have made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. If you know someone that may be interested in any type of narcissistic abuse, life coaching, please refer. If you need to, if you're not already subscribed, if you're not already have on the notifications, I'm going to start selling myself because I know I don't do, it's uncomfortable, but I know that in order to grow this channel, that's what I need to do. So I'm going to do it. You guys are here for a reason. You guys have been with me for years. Some of you, if not, if you're new, nice to meet you. And we're going to go on this journey together, and we're going to heal. Because again, like I always say, it's our time. We've given up too much of our time to those who are undeserving. So now we're gonna reel back in and give some of it to ourselves and to our healing. So if you enjoyed this video, again, like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe. Give me your stories in the comments. Let's create a community of healing, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.